Monday Bully Live. No intro today. We're jumping straight in on topic as we're going to be talking about nothing more and nothing less than gastric dilation volvulus. Yes, better known as bloat to many in the American Bully and other breed type communities. Before I go any further, let me bring my co-host with the most money, Mizike. What's going on, man?
What's up, fam? I'm excited about this one, man. This is a cool topic right here.
It is. It's also a sad topic, man, because it's been
Terribly
hitting
sad.
so many people. It usually hits, I say so many people, but usually hits so many dogs during the summertime, right? And then you see people posting up, the dog passed away and so on and so forth. It really breaks. It's really heartbreaking stories, man, especially when you find out, and we're going to go over the reasons why this happens, but when you find out this is something very easy to sidestep, it's really not that complicated to just, let me put a little music in the back, man. Kyle's slacking off today. There we go.
I think it's a great topic because it affects so many people, and if people just get a little education on it, it's something really easy to keep from happening.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Bloat, guys, for those of you that have heard of it and don't know exactly what it is, what bloat is nothing more than when the dog takes in a lot of air, gas, you could call it gas, or in one sitting. And we're going to talk about other possibilities, but when they take in so much in one sitting because they're eating so fast or whatnot, that the stomach could actually turn. And when it turns, what happens is it'll cut off the blood supply. And that's what makes this an immediate emergency, right? Also, we're going to be talking about the signs and symptoms of bloat and, what you need to be looking at. As far as, oh man, my dog is, may be having an emergency, because I had a friend of mine that just like 3 years ago, he had a puppy came in, ate a lot, drank a lot, and then he let her out and she was running around playing with the other dogs. And you're going to find out that that's a big no-no tonight. The puppy ended up dying, unfortunately, man. So, yeah, we got Queen's New Blood saying this will be an interesting conversation. Absolutely. Pity Mom, what's going on? Slicky Bakery, we here. All right. MJA, what's up, fam? Coming from Charlotte, NC. All right. We have, Carmelo and Chica TV. Happy Monday, Bullying fam. God bless. You got it, man. Adam Fields, good evening, like always, Adam. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, let's jump into topic, man. So tell you what, Mike, let me ask you this. Do you think breed predisposition has anything to do with this stuff?
I'm not sure what the book says, but I know some breeds seem to have more trouble with it than others.
Yeah. Basically, large, deep-chested breeds, supposedly Great Danes, German Shepherds, Weimaraners, Saint Bernards. I would add to that list the bully breed. Deep chest that allow more stomach movement. And what happens is that increases the possibility of torsion, right? And so, yeah, there's actually a breed predisposition. When I say bully breeds included in that, I include French bulldogs in that, because you'd be surprised how many little French bullies running around end up passing away because of bloat. We got Supreme Clientele. Here you go, man. Number love, Sulema Santiago. Bloat is also possible when they eat and drink too much water at the same time. Yes. Yeah, we're getting into that. Absolutely. Queen's New Blood. All right, man. Queen's New Blood just re-up membership. Can I get some love on that?
Pues claro que sí, cabrón.
Every Monday and Friday at 8 PCST. You already know. Queen says he honestly forgot to renew it. Not No problem, man. Number love, man. Appreciate you. French boxer died of it several years back. Yeah, man. Breed disposition. Number 2 is rapid eating and gulping food. If you have a dog that's rapid eating and gulping food, right? What happens is they swallow an excess of air, aerophagia, right? Phagia means eating, aero means air, right? And then this leads to gastric distension. And when there's gastric distension, there's a possibility of a twist, which again will lead to no blood supply to the stomach, which immediately becomes an emergency, right?
How do you feel about those suction cup deals with the fins that go inside the bowl that kind of keep the dog from eating so fast?
I think that's good, right? But honestly, it's a waste of money. What we do here, and I've talked about it years ago, man, if you have a dog that's eating too fast, all you need, at least what we've done, is we'll get a rock from the garden and we'll soak it in water with hydrogenated water overnight, let it out, let it dry. This way you're killing all the germs, you're killing everything that's in there. And then we're going to put food in there and we'll put that rock in the middle. And this forces the dog to eat at a slower pace. If you feel that that's not enough and you want to buy one of those bowls that's got little, I don't know, little sticks.
Fans is what I call them.
Pointing out and makes them slow down. That's fine too. The other thing you could do is simply feed them a little bit at a time. Feed them 3 times a day and just reduce the amounts. That's the other possibility. The one thing that I do notice that happens quite a bit is that aside from eating is when they drink a lot of water fast. Water weighs more than just about any food they're going to eat. But if they're eating kibble and then they're drinking the water, you've seen what happens to kibble when water's added to it, how it just does this to it. Well, that is another form of bloat, because if it hyperextends the stomach to the point where it's pushing against other organs,
right,
it could stop the blood supply to other organs and also the blood supply to the stomach.
We tell people 30 minutes to an hour, but we wait an hour here at our house. And I'm gonna tell you what, when you're feeding kibble, it's hard, because 30 minutes after they eat that kibble, they want something to drink. But we always make them wait an hour, and we haven't had any problems with it. You know,
the way we're doing it here, purposefully, is because we're changing the water out every day. So when I get to the yard, I'm kicking over all the buckets. Boom, boom, boom. They're all getting kicked over. Water's coming out. Now I'm going to feed you. Well, I'm going to clean. I'm going to clean first. Once everything is nice and clean and there's no water in the buckets, I'm going to feed you. And I'm going to let you eat. And then once you finish eating, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to open the gate not the gate. I'm going to open the cell door to each particular kennel. I'm going to let you out, run around, right, for a minute. When I say run around, what they're really wanting to do is poop more than anything, pee and poop. And while they're doing that, I'm going to fill the buckets of water. Literally takes me about no more than 10, 11 minutes to do. Put them back in. That's how we do it.
Since mine are in the house right now, I don't know about anybody else. I'm curious what other people have to say with their house dogs, but it's a dominance thing with water with the house dogs. It doesn't matter how much water I put down, they'll go back and forth and there will not be a drop left. If I keep refilling them and filling them and filling them, they'll empty them and they'll go take each other's water and drink every drop of it. So the dominant dogs don't want to share the water and things like that.
Right.
So I've learned they all can only drink out of their own bowls. That's the only way I let them do it. And I give them a ration of water, a good, healthy ration of water an hour after they eat. And then they all drink their own bowls, and that's it. I don't keep water down, because it don't matter how many times I fill it, they'll just drink it all over and over, and they'll drink way too much.
It's funny you say that, Mike. You know what I found? I found that whatever the dominant dog wants, it kind of sets the cultural aspect for the rest of the yard. So let me give you an example. My girl, Cadabra, she likes steaks. So all the other dogs are going to go run after a steak. Why is it? Because when you're inside of my kennel area, she's the only one that's able to get the stick. They're prohibited because she's running the show. But once I let them out to the big kennel area, everybody wants to grab a stick because it's almost like I was prohibited, so now I want it. So the same could be true with water. Same could be true with anything else.
That's exactly
anything
right.
that they feel it's been prohibited to them. It's like a 2-year-old. You know, you can't have water now. Oh, now they really want water. You know, that sort of deal. So
yeah, my pops that's got the bird dogs. He told me that they switched here about 3 years ago. They switched to what do you call them? Perpetual feeders.
okay,
that's not what they're called. They're food boxes. So when it eats food out the bottom, it
comes down.
Yeah, and I can't forget the name. I'm trying to think of the name of what they're called. But anyway, when they switched to those, at first the dogs were eating way more than they were before.
Right.
But once they all said like, "Hey, we got food here whenever we want it every day," then they started actually eating less than they were when he was portioning food. So so in the long run, it actually saved him a little money and cut costs to leave them an abundance of food for each one of them out 24/7.
Yeah, it's a psychological thing. Me personally, I would never do that, and I'll tell you why, Mike. And I never had a dog die. Let me knock on wood because of bloat. But now knowing what I know, puppies, man, they like you'll get some puppies that will eat themselves.
Yeah,
to the point where you're worried if they're going to be able to poop that out, man, because it's just way too much. So
I guess it might be because that particular breed is not a bully breed, and it's got the narrow chest cavity and all that. Maybe you can get away with it a little better. Maybe it's not.
I wouldn't do that with bullies, man. Insaratha is asking, I mix water with the food. Is that okay?
That's a great question.
Insaratha, I wouldn't do that. Because like I said, water weighs more than anything you could feed. And so if you're making that stomach expand or if it's weighing too much, it may lead to it. I would recommend, I would recommend divvying them up. You know, like for example, my dogs, they have access to water all day until I go back there and I kick the buckets over. Once I kick the buckets over and I clean the kennels, they know they're going to eat. After they eat, right? You know, I'm going to let them out. I'm going to fill all the water buckets and then I'm going to let them back in, right? Luckily for me, and I've sit there and I watch them, they don't go crazy over water because I think it's a psychological thing like what Mike was just talking about. Because they have access to water all day, there's not this immediate need to now let's go gulp water because there's none available. The total opposite. They're satisfied. They're just going to chill there for a while and then drink water whenever they want to.
And Saratha, if part of the reason you're doing that, and I'm guessing here because you didn't specify, but I go through seasons where I use kibble here on my program, and if I'm guessing, I would say you probably do that for like a little bit of moisture content, a little bit of like. Makes it easier for them to eat the kibble without choking and stuff from being too dry. There are alternatives that won't cause this issue that you can use. Maybe a little coconut oil or like some pumpkin,
right?
Or something like that. Something besides water that can make it easier for the dogs to swallow it without giving them something that can cause the bloat.
Yeah, no, you're right. You could do it that way. But definitely not the water. Excel Champ Cooper says, my dog's not eating the eggshells anymore. Is that normal? And I feed him your chicken and rice recipe with a little kibble now. He's not eating all the kibble anymore. Yeah, it's normal, man, especially now during the summertime. I have a couple of dogs that are leaving the kibble behind. There's no need for it. They don't. Right now, this was crazy. Luckily for me, where I live in my neck of the woods, I'm able to get the 10-pound bags of chicken quarters at Walmart for $5.72. So right now, they're all getting about 2 chicken quarters a meal. right? You really think about it, that's quite a bit when you include also carrots, green beans, the probiotics. I'm dropping kefir in there. Plus they're getting Nuvet NuJoint DS on top of all that. So, and then they get that little portion of kibble, and they're walking away from it. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to eat it. They just walk away from it. And then later on, maybe at some point in the middle of the night, they'll mosey over there and have a little snack or something. I don't know. That's how they're doing it.
Could they be leaving the eggshells behind? I know with some things, dogs know when they need something. They know when they need to eat grass or something like that. And if they already have the calcium that they need, they may not be interested in the eggshells.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I will say this. I have some dogs that are finicky. For example, my girl Ali, she will not eat eggshells, no matter what I do to them. She just doesn't do it, right? So it could also be the dog wants to become a little finicky. It can happen, So Jeremiah says, if you're feeding kibble, add water and let the kibble soak up the water. Don't feed right away. Jeremiah, I wouldn't recommend that, my friend. I wouldn't recommend that. That's precisely what I wouldn't recommend. The kibble expands. You see what I'm saying? And so now you're dealing with two factors. When the dog eats it, you're dealing with the weight of the water with the food. So that's number one. And then number two, you're dealing with a larger volume. So I wouldn't recommend it. Now, are there people that feed their dogs like that for years and it's never happened? Sure. But we're dealing with a breed that has a propensity for this type of thing to be able to happen. I wouldn't recommend it, right?
Yeah.
JV says, will it be okay to get another puppy? My recent puppy will be 4 months old when I get the other one. Sure. I don't see why that would be a problem. Yeah. Shea Tree, virgin olive oil works great on dog kibble. Yes, virgin olive oil. Also, if you guys didn't know this, I'm going to let you know. Virgin olive oil is great for male reproduction, right? It's going to help the females too, don't get me wrong. But males in particular, it's really going to help them out. So if you have a male that has low sperm count or you just want that extra to have coverage, adding a little bit of virgin olive oil into their food is going to do wonders for you. Yeah, she could try wet food. Yeah, sure. Good idea, Mike. Yeah, I wanted to hydrate them more. Yeah, also, I believe Inserata is out of Arizona. That's another good point, a good reason why she's probably doing it that way is because it's so arid and dry in that neck of the woods. Shatri says, in my experience, I noticed that dogs know exactly how much to eat. It's like their instincts. They're born that way. I agree, Shay, as long as they're not puppies. I've had puppies.
As long as they're older, yeah.
Yeah, they just don't know when to stop, and they'll hurry, eat their food, and go hurry and eat another puppy's food. And if you're not on top of them, you could have a problem in your hands.
That's something we really deal with with our breed a lot. Is people want their dogs to be big and healthy, especially when they're young. And what's up, fam? Yeah. And so they're like, hey, he wants to eat a lot. He's gonna be a big boy or whatever. And so they feed him too much. And we've talked about it on here forever that there's a lot of health issues that come. A lot of damage can be done by overfeeding a dog. And this bloat is just one more reason why you shouldn't let your puppies eat so much.
The other thing I'm going to tell you guys is when you let a puppy eat that much and that stomach gets so big and distended, they're not able to digest as well because the stomach really can't do its job of breaking down the food to the point where it becomes easy for the dog to digest once it gets to the small intestine. So yeah, you're not gaining anything by overfeeding. And Sarata says, I have 2 females that only eat what they need and self-regulate, like stop eating, but there are more classic builds. Okay. Dripping goat kennels. Look at that. My dogs won't eat without water. Oh boy. I would just if that's the case, I'll break down the meals to 3 meals a day and limit the portion size.
Yeah, you could also, like I had said a minute ago, you can definitely melt some coconut oil in the microwave. You can get that food grade coconut oil in the big tub, like at Sam's or something like that. Take you a few spoonfuls, put it in a little dish, melt it, and then drizzle it over the food. They will eat it without water.
They love that coconut oil.
Yeah.
Alberto Ayala says, Raul, I know this is off topic, but I see you have a huge yard and there are bunch of branches and sticks. My yard's not as big, but pretty woody. Do I need to constantly stop him from chewing? Listen, Albert, this is your call, man. I've had people, look, this is the thing. A lot of what goes on with dogs becomes very subjective. So I've had people tell me, I had to go take my dog and have surgery because he ate a stick that didn't make it through, or this, that, and the third. I've never had that happen. Okay, I've never had a dog choke on a stick or me have to run with them to the vet or anything like that. Not saying that it can't happen, but I will say this. I have an older female in my yard. Her name is Aruba, and she, basically when I take the puppies, this is her, by the way, when I take puppies off of mom, right, they end up coming over here to Mama Aruba. And Mama Aruba, right, she has a lot of bad habits. Eating sticks, jumping in the mud, farting around me. She just does it all, right?
She's going to teach them too, man.
Yeah, and so honestly, man, my dogs eat sticks because Mama Aruba kind of shows them to, and then they feel limited because Mama Cadabra doesn't let them because she's the alpha of the yard. And when I let them inside of the yard area, let me bring up a picture of Cadabra. Here she goes. When I let them in the yard area, Cadabra's like, screw you, these are my sticks, and I run this show. So when I finally do let them out to the big yard area, then everybody wants a stick. Right? That's just the way it goes. So as far as me, that's my answer. But I wanted to tell you all that so you can see where my answer is coming from, right? Maybe if you speak to the next guy and he's like, I don't know, man, I had a dog that, ate an entire pine cone and it wouldn't come out his butt and we had to operate him. That might have been the case for them. Just hasn't been the case for me, bro. So,
in life, whether it's dogs or people or anything else, you're going to have the full spectrum of variations. And so anything that can happen will happen at some point, but we can only say, generally speaking, and speak of our own truths. I haven't had an issue with it here either. My dogs love to sit there and chew a stick to pieces. They just love it. But
yeah. Shawneen Webster brings up a point that Mike brought up very well. He said, she said, if you overfeed your puppies and continue to do so, will it affect their pasterns? The answer to that, based on what I've seen, is yes. And that answer goes twofold. So the reason that happens, right, is because the dogs are dogs, right? Their bone will grow pretty fast. The problem you have with the bone growing fast is at either end, you have soft tissue, which is tendons, cartilage, ligaments. They don't grow as fast. In fact, their blood supply, they don't have veins. They don't have arteries that supply blood to them. They get their blood through fluid, right, from other organs. So their blood supply is very minimal in comparison to, say, bone, where blood is made right inside of the bone. This is why the bone has the ability to grow so fast, so quick. But these outer joints where the torque, where the longer the bone is, the more torque you're going to have at these ends. You see? And so that affects you. In addition to that, okay, aside from the fact that the bone's growing too fast for your dog because you're overfeeding it, right? There's two things in the food that are going to signal to the growth hormone, grow, because we need to grow fast. And that's going to be protein and fat. Those are the two things that's just going to tell your hormones, hey, growth hormone, go ahead, man. We're good, right? The other thing that you have that's going on is you're overfeeding kibble. We've spoken here hundreds of times how kibble is processed and how the vitamins and minerals are degenerated. So now, not only do you have bone growing too fast for the ends to be able to support it, right? The ligaments, the soft tissue. Now you're feeding, say, for example, vitamin C. Vitamin C is necessary to restore. So let me explain to you what happens. When the bone grows, the torque on either end goes up, right? Because now it's longer. So the laws of physics says that the torque is going to be even more on either end. Every time your dog does this, there's going to be a miniature, tiny, little, itty bitty little fissure that's going to happen there. And in that fissure, right, the body has to now, using vitamin C, go there and repair it. But what happens when you feed a cup of food, of dog food, and it says, I don't know, it's bringing 60% vitamin C, but there's only 5% available when it's taking it in because it was cooked in such a way. So now this dog's body has to say, okay, we got this vitamin C. Do we use it for the brain, the heart, the liver, or do we use it for the joints? You see where the problem comes in. And therefore, that's the reason why I keep talking to you guys about Nuvet and NuJoint DS, because the vitamins in Nuvet and NuJoint DS are completely cold pressed, right? They are bioavailable to your dog. Bioavailable. That's really, really important. Over here, NuJoint, which is the joint support, right? It goes together with the green bottle, right? Everything that's in there is bioavailable for your dog. Therefore, not saying that overfeeding is right. I'm actually saying overfeeding is wrong. But if you are going to overfeed or just feed right, when you want your dogs to have the vitamins and minerals that are bioavailable in order to keep those the joints that are on the end of the torque right. Because if you don't, let me show you what happens when you don't, and then you go to where it does. See, when you don't, look at this dog's pasterns. Look at that dog's pasterns. You can't tell me in 10 days this dog lost all this weight. Now over there by where Mike is on his side over there, that's the 10 days after. Look at the difference on the pasterns, right? So again, guys, you don't want to overfeed your dog. I don't care if you're feeding Nuvet, but if you're going to feed him right, make sure you got Nuvet on board so that you don't have a dog doing this, opening up their paws or anything like that.
I couldn't agree with that anymore, man, because, for those of y'all that don't feed raw, if you're feeding kibble, you need a supplement. All dogs need the extra supplementation, no matter what you're feeding them, but definitely need it when they're eating kibble. And if you're going to give them a supplement, I mean, the thing about Nuvet, we're talking, 30 years, 35 years, not one recall? Yep. I mean, I don't understand why somebody would want to go another route. To me, it's idiot proof. I mean, it
really is, man.
They've had no problems out of it in 30 years. I mean, you can try all this stuff. Mike and Raul, they said that, but this other stuff's good. Yeah. Look at the recalls.
Yeah. Not just that, Mike. Not just that. What I really like about Nuvet as well is the fact that here, let me bring this up here so you guys can see it. So I want you guys to see this. 100% natural, cold pressed, not cooked, right? Never been recalled. Mike just said that. Made at human food grade level. That's the highest grade level that you can make food at on this earth, period. So,
which is why we talk about it all the time. It's not just because we want y'all to get it. It's because every kennel should use it. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the ABKC president and everybody else that comes up in here that has used it, telling you, oh man, it puts the right amount of weight on the dogs. I mean, that should say something. Nadine says, I add roughage to my pup's diet, and very well you should. You got to realize kibble, the amount of what's the word I'm looking for? Roughage in dietary language. Not protein, not fat, Okay, it'll come to me. Anyway, you need to add roughage. What is roughage? Roughage could be lettuce,
leafy greens, right?
could be coal, could be shredded carrots, spinach, whatever. Your dog, just make sure that it is not toxic for dogs, and you should be able to add it, and it's going to help. Okay. Rio Crawford, is it ever better to feed kibble over raw? Honestly, Rio, my answer is no. Now, I'm not a vet. I'm a nurse that became a breeder, and because of that, I've had to deal with vets, and I do have a medical background. And the vets that typically tell me that feeding raw is bad, usually the next sentence is, but we have this Hill Science diet over here on the shelf. So, you can figure out they're trying to sell you something, man. It's what I'm trying to say.
I'd say the only time maybe you might, if you try, like if you're really trying, checking all the boxes with your raw diet with a dog, and I haven't heard of a case like this, but let's just say that you try 15 different ways about it, and the dog keeps getting sick, and having solid stool issues and holding it down, or you've had some kind of extreme allergy that you tried to narrow down and just couldn't pinpoint, and you feel like you're beating your head against the wall. I would say like maybe in that case, which I haven't heard of that, but I could imagine it could be possible, and maybe in that case kibble would be better for that particular dog, but not likely, man.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. Jeremiah says, can eating too fast cause bloat? And the answer is yes. Let us get back on that, man. The other thing that can cause bloat, guys, is large or a single daily meal. This is why breaking them up in two is probably better. Feeding one big meal instead of multiple smaller ones causes rapid stomach expansion, right? And it increases the probability of this happening, right? We already spoke on rapid eating. So if your dog is rapid eating, and then on top of that, you're serving one big meal for them to eat, and then on top of that, they go and they drink some water, yeah, you're really setting them up. The other thing that you got to be careful with is exercise or activity after eating, right? Vigorous play or running post-meal can cause a full stomach swing and twist, right? So, like I told you, about 3 years ago, I had a friend, he had a puppy. Puppy would eat to the point where you didn't know if she was going to live, if she could breathe after she ate. And on top of that, he let her go run around with the other dogs. Next thing you know, she didn't make it, right? So why? Because the dog has just too much on the stomach. They're overextending. So be very careful with that. The other thing you got to be careful with is stress and anxious temperament. Okay, so a nervous or a high stress dog. Now, you guys know I have several dogs here in my yard. And we rescued, I'm trying to bring up a picture of her. I did a story on her. I don't have a picture right now. My rescue, Shadow. And Shadow is a very nervous dog. She is high stress. When I walk into the yard, she's walking up and down her cage. And all it is she wants me to open her cage for her to go and run. If she sees me do anything, if I put the Clorox pills in the Bully Oasis, for example, just doing that, it takes me 5 seconds to do. She is creating chaos back there, right? You would think something's going on, and all it is she's very nervous. So I try the very best I can that when I feed her, I'm not going to be doing all these other things, because that's something else that could be adding to it. Let's see here, man. I have 2 pocket females. I use beef broth and liver water. Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing. He says, and Nadine says, but also, can pups be predisposed to this as well? Yes, they can.
Absolutely.
Because if you look at the puppy's makeup, right, especially after they eat, I've lifted up a puppy after they've eaten, and the belly could be this big, and then their thorax, where the rib cage and all that is only about yay big, but the belly extends this much. You got to be careful that they don't overeat, man, and over drink water. That's the other thing that can lead to bloat, man.
Just so y'all know, Raul said a bunch of times, and I do the same thing here as well. 3 times, if not more, a day for a puppy. You need to feed them. You need to feed them at least 3 times a day, smaller increments. So if you're wanting to know about how often to feed a puppy, you know, you look at the daily portion of what a dog needs in 24 hours of food, and then cut that down in 3 or 4 meals, but at least 3.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, Mike, and those of you watching, I want you to answer as well, right? Which dog is more predisposed, right, to having bloat? A thin dog or a real heavy dog?
I would say heavy.
You say heavy. Let me see what they comment over here. Drop your comments. I want to see what you guys think. By the way, D Taylor says, I love all the new eyes in here. Like and become member, guys. Only $5 a month. You can't. You're right.
When you say heavy, do you mean a big dog or just a heavy dog?
No. He's saying that for as little as $5 a month, they could become a member.
Oh, so, no. I was saying it's regards to your question.
Yeah, my question is a large dog.
When you say heavy, you mean large.
Yeah, right? A heavy, big, bulked up dog or a thin dog. Nadine says a large dog. Mike Hennigan says a thin dog. Shade Tree, of course, says let there be balance.
I love it.
Sulema says heavy dog. Queen's New Blood says great name. No, you got to tell me big dog or heavy dog or thin dog. What do you think? Caleb Weddle says big dog.
He's talking to me. What's up?
Says heavy. Yeah, Caleb, number love for you, man. Barrel chested. I get that, but I'm asked. Listen, don't give me anything outside of heavy dog or thin dog. That's it. Thinner and taller like a boxer or Dane. Okay. Wasabi says large dogs. Travador says heavy dog. All right, so I'm going to give you guys the answer here. Hold on, we got a couple more comments. Oh, I thought you were talking breeds. No, I'm just saying thick or thin. Carmelo Chica says thin. Martin Garcia say thin. Excel Champ Cooper say thin. La Mexicana says heavy. And the answer is a thin dog. And that's because when they eat, there's more space for there to be movement of its guts and the stomach and everything. And therefore, because of that space, there's more of a probability of this actually happening, right? Who would have thunk it? You would always think, oh, it'd be the heavy dog. It's almost the cadence, the medical cadence.
I figured it was a trick question, but I'm thinking the big barrel chest is, you know, and that's what we're talking about. But yeah, I can see where the slenderer frame would lead to a bigger problem if they're overfed and there's not room for all that to do right.
You got it, Caleb. Number love for you too, man. Every Tuesday night bully talk with Caleb Weddle and his gang over there, man. D. Taylor says, yes, it can be bred, but you're going to have to do a lot of research to make sure you produce health for sure. You should get your dog health tested and find out what is under the hood. This is true. Here's another thing, you guys. I got to let you know, there is a genetic predisposition of this. However, there's no genetic test right now that can tell you if there's a genetic predisposition for it. I'm just throwing that out there. There could be a genetic predisposition. Also, deep, narrow thoracic conformation, right? Anatomical chest in certain breeds creates instability in the stomach, right? So before getting into a breed, it's very important to find out if bloat is something that affects them. I already told you that bully breeds, I don't care if it's a tiny little Frenchie all the way up to an American Bulldog. They because of the way that they're structured, they have a propensity for that. And here is another one I'm going to throw at you, Mike. I want you guys to drop a comment on this. What increases the possibility of bloat? Raised bulls or bulls that are on the ground?
I would say bulls on the ground would increase probability of it.
Okay, let me see what people are saying. La Mexicana says, so albino dogs are not good for breeding. Not this breed. On the ground, says La Mexicana. MJA says on the ground. Caleb Weddle says on the ground. XL Champ Cooper says on the ground. Shade Tree says ground bowls. Oh, Adam Fields said raised bowls. We got Nadee said bowls on the ground. By Inserata, more upward movement. Martin Garcia higher. Carmela and Chica TV on the ground. We got bowls on the ground, Jeremiah. Mike Hannigan on the ground. Most hated native on the ground. La Mexicana. And from experience, raised bowl, says Jasmine Han. And Kyle says, Adam, which one causes bloat? All right. So Adam said raised bowl, and so did Jasmine Han, and they are correct. Raised bowls increases the possibility of bloat happening. Why? Give me the explanation. Some way, somehow, more air gets trapped when they're eating, and it makes it down to their stomach, which leads to it possibly twisting or expanding so much that it stops the blood supply to either the stomach or the surrounding organs.
Everybody's letting me take them off a cliff tonight.
Yeah, Martin Garcia says they can eat more if it's higher. That's possible too. That's possible.
Yeah, I think raised bulls are better for our breed. But like Raul was saying, in this case, you have to be more careful of bloat.
Yeah, look, we always talk about raised bulls because lowered pasterns is such a big deal in our breed. So best thing to do is feed twice a day, higher bull, and make sure that right after they eat and right before they eat, they don't have access to water. Let them eat, give them about an hour and a half, then let them drink, right? Is it breed specific? It can be breed specific. It could be breed specific to the American bully breed. To the bully breeds altogether. And German Shepherds, Great Danes, Weimaraners, Saint Bernards, any breed that has narrow, deep chests, it allows for the stomach to have more movement. And that's where you could be having an issue. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm over here. So these are the things that you got to be careful about, especially if you got a thinner dog that's eating out of a raised bowl that has water supply. Yeah, you probably have an issue. If you're feeding them once a day and that's the biggest meal, yeah, you can probably run into an issue. Shade Tree says, I was taught raised bowls decrease the rate of a dog getting bloat. I'm so confused. What happened? Shay, listen, here's the thing, Shay, and this is why our society, it's so important to kind of get information from people that are experienced, and here's why. You have a company that's going to sell raised bowls. Guess what's about to happen? They're going to pay for research that's going to say raised bowls reduces the possibility of bloat. And who's going to prove them otherwise? They got 5 scientists and about 100 lawyers saying raised bowls is the way to go. Then you have another company that doesn't sell raised bowls, and they put it on the ground and do the very same thing. And you get to the point where it's almost like you have a Democrat and a Republican talking to you about raised bowls. Who do you believe, right? The only way you're going to really know is you need to talk to somebody who doesn't have a dog in the fight. Whether it's a research that was done by, for example, and I hate to bring them up because I feel that they're sold out to Big Pharma, but either way, ASPCA or something like that doesn't have a dog in the fight as to whether a raised bull or a bull on the ground is going to make a determination. That's how you're going to be able to get your answer. Otherwise, if you ask the raised bull people, what do you think they're going to tell you? And if you ask the people with the bull on the ground, what do you think they're going to tell you? Right? Everybody's trying trying to tow the rope in their direction, right? Adam Fields says dogs in the wild eat off the ground. Raised bowls are better for structure, but allow unwanted air to get into the stomach. Adam Fields is 100% right.
That's a great answer.
Great analogy, great answer. Also, somebody else said that when the bowl is raised, they're able to eat more. I said that air, which is a gas, is able to get inside when they're eating higher up. So take all that information, wrap it up, and get an answer. Jasmine Hand says if you have a single dog, you can do hand feed. Your hand control the speed of dog into their mouth. I would not recommend hand feeding a dog. What happens if you have to go to the hospital for an emergency for 3 days? Dog doesn't eat? Because once they get used to eating out of your hand, it's going to be pretty hard for you to get them to stop. So no, I wouldn't recommend that. I understand the intention behind it, but I wouldn't recommend that. Okay.
You got to watch your dogs. You got to know your dogs. You got to know, I've got a couple of dogs that they're not brachiocephalic, but they're short enough muzzled where
air's coming in.
If they drink water off the ground, they have problems throwing it up. And then, but you don't, it depends on, there's a lot of factors, man. I would definitely just know your dogs, pay attention. If they're bad to eat really fast, you may have to lower these bowls down, or like Raul said, feed a couple times a day, try to
reduce the amounts and get the water out of it.
But you got to pay attention. That's the main thing. We all have different dogs at different needs. I would definitely just really watch your dog, man. If you feel like what we're telling you doesn't apply to you specifically, then you take a different look at it. But
at least the factors that will increase the probability of this happening. Right. Betayala says I might have missed response. Want to start feeding my puppy barf, but he has his puppy teeth. Can I feed smaller chickens like chicken feet? No. I recommend you grind the bones. Buy yourself a grinder, grind the bones. Otherwise, wait until he can break the bone. Don't go the route of feeding him chicken feet. What's happening is he's not going to be able to break it, right? Even though you think it's small pieces, a puppy can actually choke on a dime, right? So I wouldn't recommend that, my friend.
If they can't chew through it, they will swallow it whole if they can.
Jose Hernandez says, still have my free consultation. Hey, if you bought Nuvet and NuJoint DS and you did the auto ship, you get a free consult. All you got to do is hit me up, man, and we'll make it happen for you. Martin Garcia, I didn't know about waiting to give them water after eating. My girl Nala runs for the water first. Yeah, well, now you know, my friend. Especially if you live like where I live, where it's super hot and humid, Southeast Texas. Like my dogs, the ones that are in the kennel area, they're able to walk inside and get air conditioning. I have dogs also in the house. I have seen people that have dogs outside. Could you only imagine when those dogs get hot, what's about to go down? They're about to drink a gallon of water in one sitting. So you don't want to do that either, man.
The way I do it for what our routine is when we're on kibble, I do about, depending on the size of the dog, but I do about a scoop of kibble, with a good fat spoonful of cottage cheese. A couple 2 or 3 times a week we put sardines in there, a good spoonful of sardines, and then that's their extra vitamins and stuff and stuff to slow down their digestion for the daytime. And then in the evening time, I give them 2 scoops of kibble with their Nuvet and NuJoint. So that way they get supplementation on both meals. The smaller meal keeps their digestion moving slowly and keep from being an empty stomach, keeps them from being so hungry all day, and then feed them a little heavier in the evening times with their Nuvet NuJoint.
Jeremiah is saying, I feel like I don't know nothing. Jeremiah, listen to me, my friend. If you feel like you don't know nothing, what that really means, and the way you should have worded that, in my opinion, is I feel like I'm learning a lot. Trust me. I'm learning every day. Every day I learn something new, man. If you feel like you don't know, or you feel like you've been making these mistakes, this is great, because now this is in the back of your mind. It gives you the opportunity of expanding and improving. That's what this is all about, man. That's what this platform is about. It's for us to share, information, experiences, so on and so forth. Is the way a dog's stomach sits in his body. Yes, I couldn't agree. Flip Dog says, thank you for giving me this information. You got it, man. Kyle says, bro, if you can buy meat and bone grinder, it'll grind the leg. Yeah, that's what I told him. Don't be feeding a puppy that's got his first set of teeth chicken feet, thinking, oh, because it's small. Don't go that route, man. La Mexicana, yeah, I was about to say, what about the Easty Westy? What about it? Now, we've spoken that a raised food bowl, having access to water, and having a raised food bowl are two things that are going to increase the possibility of bloat. Well, those are two things you have total control over, right? Take the water out, let them eat, let them sit for a little bit, all right, good hour and a half if you can, and then, bring the water out. Or let them have water. Let them drink all the water they want. Then take the water out, wait about an hour and a half, let them eat. You don't want to do the combination of water and eating all together at the same time. That's what we're trying to get at, right? Shade Tree says, thank you so much. Another reason why I don't like missing the lives. Oh, you got it. Nadie says, oh man, bye-bye to my pups raised bowls. Oof. Again, Nadie's, you don't have to stop the raised bowls. You just need to make the food portion smaller by dividing the meals throughout the day and limit the access to water when it's time for them to eat. After they've eaten, they could have all the water they want when they want to have it. You're not going to be able to stop a dog from drinking water. Now, if you have a dog that's gulping water like it's the end of the world, then yeah, you might want to get either one of them. There's these little water bowls that has like a little platform on top. I know because my daughter, when we got our little French bulldog, she bought it for her. And what happens is she can only drink so much water at a time. Even if she wanted to gulp it, she couldn't, because just a little bit amount of water. Now, there's plenty of water for her to drink, but it's only a little bit at a time. So you may want to look into that as well. Caleb says, great info. Thank you, brother. Nothing but love, man. Appreciate you, man. Ashley Welping. Shaytree says, since I've been feeding Anna a raised bowl, is it okay to unraise the bowl and put it on the ground and do the right thing? Like, that won't cause any issues with it. Well, here's the thing, Shaytree. Your dog's already old enough where I think that's a fallacy in our community. I understand puppies need to eat on a raised bowl because you want them to extend the pasterns so they can strengthen. I get that. But if you have a 2-year-old dog, yeah, lowering the bowls, you're not about to change anything, bro. I mean, I hate to break the news to you. Those bowls have now sealed. Everything is where it's going to be. That's what you're going to get.
And Shade Tree, like he said a minute ago, raising or lowering the bowl, it's not necessarily going to fix the issue. It has to do with portion control, and they're more prone to having a problem with a raised bowl if they're eating too much in a raised bowl. You spread your portions out, then raised or on the ground, it's not an issue. If the portions are big, then even if it's on the ground, it's a problem.
Yeah. We got XL Champ Cooper saying, I hand feed my dog the first 3 months to prevent food aggression. Well, XL Champ, everybody does things their way. The way I prevent food aggression is a taser, right? And I let my puppies hear the taser from when they're real small, so they're scared of it, right? And they'll comprehend real quick because I'll put them there to eat, and I'm just waiting for them to do the wrong thing to then just tap my taser in the air and makes that cracking sound. Everybody looks up and freaks out, and whoever was the culprit stops doing whatever it is that they were doing. But listen, my ways of doing things are no better than yours. It's just a different angle. That's all. Most Hated says, my dogs are taller, so I don't really notice. Okay. Yeah, Kyle's saying, you need to raise bowls. Just be careful and watch. Yeah, and like I said, reduce the meals, reduce the water. Furman says, for me, I feed at night before bed. Also limit water after feeding time. For my pups, they eat then. I limit, their water and activity. Here's the thing, Firm. For those of you feeding kibble, I don't know if you guys noticed this, right? When I used to feed kibble, there would be piles of poop. And the poop was wet. Now, it could be well built, but you could see that it was wet. When I started to feed raw, it was the exact opposite. The poop was dry and in little clumps. And I'm like, what the hell's happening here? So I did a little bit of research, and it makes a lot of sense. Kibble, because it's processed and it's got to have a shelf life, it is cooked at high temperatures. I already told you that. Everything is degraded. I told you that. But on top of that, each kibble is something that's really dry. So when it makes it to the stomach, what it does is it absorbs everything that's there, that's just making its way through the digestive tract. So the dog actually has to give kibble water in order to be able to digest it. Whereas when it eats raw, 70% of raw is already water. So it's another good reason, right, to be feeding raw. If you're going to feed kibble, my recommendation is wait an hour and a half, 2 hours to let them drink water, but you're going to have to let them drink water. Don't think you're going to feed them at 11 o'clock at night and go to bed till the morning, and the dog's going to wake up. By the time you wake up, the dog's going to have the hiccups because it doesn't have enough water to go around. You see what I'm saying? So if it's kibble, make sure you give yourself a 2-hour window to be able to feed them a little bit of water before they go to bed, because they're going to need that water for digestion, because that kibble is pulling a lot of water. Kibble's really dry, right? And Sarata says a lot of it is just the dog's personality. Like some dogs like to scarf everything down, even if they're feeding twice a day and never neglect it. This is true, and that's in Sarata. That's where you can grab yourself, like I said, a rock. Right? You got your bowl. You grab a rock. You make sure you sanitize that rock. Put in hydrogenated water for a day. Leave it out in the sun. Let it be nice and dry, and put it in the middle of the bowl. This dog has no choice but to eat bits by bits all the way around. It's going to reduce the scarfing, right? Yeah. Or if not, buy one of those bowls that's got them little fingers sticking up. Yeah, and it's going to force him to eat it slower.
Also, like the other part of that same thing he was saying, or Insaratha was saying, is that it's the portion too, right? So it's not it's not just how quick the dog is eating. Feeding them twice a day is allowing them to have smaller portions. So even if they're eating fast, it's not as big of a deal as it would be if it was a larger portion.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. That's why if you could feed twice a day, and if you have one of them little bowls with fingers in there, it's going to slow them down even if they don't want to. By the way, Adam Fields says, I use raised bowls until the bone plates seal. Smart guy. After 2, it's going on the ground. Of course, you're not going to affect the dog after 2. La Mexicana, can they get into shock? I don't understand the question, La Mexicana. Make it be a little more specific. Furman says their stomachs are basically like a hammock. Once it twists, it's over with for the dog. This is pretty much true. Jose Hernandez, you say the past live, I have free consultation. Thanks to Pan con Leche. Oh, you got it. You got it then, bro. That's not an issue. Pan con Leche. Where's Pan con Leche tonight? I haven't seen him. He was here Friday night causing chaos. Martin Garcia says, definitely giving water after from now on. Thank you. I'm in South Jersey. All right, man. I'm glad we could help, man. La Mexicana says, LMFAO, I'm about to get Pan con Leche to join. She's cracking up. I love pan con leche. You know what pan con leche means, Mike, in Spanish? It means bread with milk. That's the guy's name. Bread with milk lover. I don't know. It's got to be something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Adam Fields says, I feed 3 times a day and cottage cheese before bed. There you go. Adam Fields been listening to the queue here for a minute. Caleb Weddle says, incredible live. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Hey, it's important, man. Do you know how many people I get hit up in a week? We do consults, and it's always, here's what's crazy, right? So I tell you guys, become members here for as little as $5 a month, right? Support the channel. And not only that, if you have questions, you can text me. I'm going to answer you, blah, blah, blah. Usually the way it works is I get somebody, hey, man, I need to talk to you. Sorry, buddy. Are you a channel member? And the reason I got to stop and say that is because those that are paying to be channel members, I can't let you just cut in front of the line. It wouldn't be fair to them, right? So it ends up happening where they're paying a $100 consult for me to tell them exactly what I just said in this live in a 10 or 15 minute block. And they're paying $100 for the consult. $5 a month would have been $60 for the year. I'm just saying. But hey, it works however you want to do it. Jeremiah says yes.
I couldn't wait when I started paying my membership. I couldn't wait to get my $5 out of Raul and be able to come on here as a member and ask whatever question I want. I mean, you can't get that anywhere, man. And you know, the sky's the limit. You know, you got issues, you got something, you know, specific to your program or whatever, you know, this is the spot, man. Come on here and ask what you want. It's a big deal. Listen,
we're the only platform that I am aware of. You guys could definitely correct me because things are popping up every day, right? But we are the only platform that does what we do live, where we're answering your questions. I'm not over here looking at a book and reading up. I'm over here answering you live, one right after another. Mike's jumping in and answering live, one after another. So take advantage of it. Jeremiah says, my bad. Jeremiah says, yes, I'm absolutely learning a lot. This is why I only buy QB&K. Number love, bro. La Mexicana says, how about the people that feed their puppy mixed water and kibble? What about them, La Mexicana? I think I already spoke on that. If you feed water and kibble, what happens to kibble when you put it in water? It's going to expand. Now you're dealing with 2 problems. Water weighs more than anything else just about that you're going to feed your dog. And then in addition, you're going to have expansion in the stomach. You have more of a chance of creating a problem.
It's risky business for sure.
That's it. Jasmine Hand says, create a routine to let puppy nap right after the meal and potty trip. Make it mandatory every day after the puppy get used to the routine that will go to nap on their own after meals. This can very well work. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you on that. Queen Steve Bless said, I used to feed my puppy food with water, but usually what for the food to absorb all the water? I guess wait for the food to absorb all the water?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Kyle, any of you guys know how to become a member? You can go down to the description below. There's a link. Click on it. You can decide what membership you want. If you want 2 free consults with me, one-on-one FaceTime, I say 20 minutes, but honestly, ask anybody. We talk for a half hour, 40 minutes, whatever. You can do that. Or if you only want to show up on the lives and ask questions, you can do that too. Shade Tree says portion control. That's it. Look who's here. Pan con leche lover. Joe Raul, my female got Easty West. She's only 2. You believe Nuvet will fix that? Sorry, bro. I got to keep it real. You see, by the time your dog is 24 months old, the bone plates have sealed. Now, if she's East-Westy, you might want to give her Nuvet for comfort and for health, right? For different reasons other than we're going to correct this. At that point, it's a little too late, Pan con leche. You should have talked to me 12 months ago. I would have taken care of you. But now it's too late to fix that. Now what's there is what you're going to get from here on out, bro. So I just keep it real with you, man. Shade Tree says balance. Shawnee, go ahead, man.
I was going to say Shade Tree's all about balance.
She is. That's like the 3rd time today she's talking about balance. I love it.
I love
Shonali Webster, come on, let's hit the likes and share. There you go. Give us some love. Look at Money Mike over there. He's falling asleep. He's been up since 3 a.m., but he's out here giving me nothing but love. Come on, man. All right, here we go. La Mexicana, yes, sir. Got Pan con Leche to join. She's cracking up over here. Yeah, Pan con Leche needs to join as a member. Yeah.
In case anybody missed it, where I said it earlier, you know, I feel like a lot of people are still asking something that we answered earlier about, adding water to the kibble.
Yeah.
If you feel like you want to add water to the kibble, instead of adding water, add some coconut oil.
Olive oil. Yeah.
Olive oil. Add some, something to give a little moisture content, whether it be, some kind of leafy vegetable, any of that breaks down good. Give something the dog to help swallow the food and digest it a little bit. So, I would recommend coconut oil, and contrary to what it looks like when you melt it and pour it on there, it'll actually help with diarrhea or with constipation.
It'll make the poop become more firm if the puppy has diarrhea. Jasmine Hahn says, yes, I feed raw too, much healthier poops and much less than fed kibble. Absolutely. And you get less yeast infections during the summer with all this humidity. And Saratha says, that way the dog learns your proximity to them. Eating is a good thing because they might get more. And that was a follow-up to what she said. The training books do say to hand feed, but you can introduce a few new treats into the bowl while they are eating to accomplish the same thing to prevent food aggression. And Saratha, again, I don't think about it. If we're having a litter, say, of 10 pups, I'm not going to sit there and hand feed. Now, listen, the book might say that, and I'm not saying that the book is wrong. What I'm saying is what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that they're all eating together, and we're going to go rat, rat, do a little taser thing, or I'll say and get them to stop. And it's been working for me to the point where by the time I bring them out to Mama Aruba in the kennel area, I got them trained to the point where I'll put the kibble in the bowls, and until I say go, they will not go to eat. And then they do go to eat, and obviously I'm going to stand there nonetheless. I don't recall us even having a fight I haven't had pups in a while, but I don't remember in the longest of time seeing puppies being food aggressive or anything like that. Like you said earlier, or somebody said earlier, once you get them in a routine, it's snappy. It's like, oh, okay, I know what we're gonna do. We're all gonna stand here until he snaps his fingers, and then we can go eat. And and that's pretty much it. So
that's how I do it. And also, if I'm feeding dogs in groups, they all have their own bowl. I do not allow them to eat or drink out of each other's bowls, only out of their own. And so they know, hey, my bowl's empty, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah. Shanani Webster is bringing up a point. She's saying, is it okay to say if we add gravel, rock to our yards, we wouldn't have to worry about pasterns when eating with raised bowls? Listen, the reason I brought up this question, Shanani, is because I used to have pea gravel inside of my cages. I no longer have that. And the reason I no longer have that, and I had it for the same reason you're bringing up, I wanted to strengthen the pasterns and not have east-west and all that. The problem you have with pea gravel long-term is hygiene. Because where I live in the summertime, the humidity is typically above 85 degrees, and the heat is normally anywhere between, I want to say, 95 to 100. I cannot take a chance anymore with having hygiene issues. Keep in mind, where I live, because of the humidity and heat, bacteria reproduces every 20 minutes. They multiply every 20 minutes to an hour. So think about that. They're reproducing at that rate. So all it takes is 2 days to go by, and you got a serious issue. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I steered away from pea gravel. My idea that I have going forward is possibly having an area where it's almost like a squared off area where I could put a dog in there or some puppies in there for a minute or two, or not a minute or two, but for a timed amount. And it could have pea gravel there, but to just have it there 24/7, it becomes a little complicated.
Sand is good as well, except the only issue I've found with sand is that they get fleas and mites in sand.
Oh, that would be another issue, man. Yeah. We got Pan con Leche saying, yo, Raul, you don't feed pan dulce con leche? No, bro. No. I'm chubby like this because I eat nothing but vegetables, bro. Come on, man. Of course, I'll eat that. I would never feed that to my dogs, man. Never feed that to my dogs. We got Donnie Johnson. What is the best dog food? We get this every time, bro. And it's always a non-member. Listen, the best dog food is raw dog food. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if your vet wants you to buy what they got on the shelf. The best food, in my opinion, is raw dog food. I said it today, and I'm going to say it from here on going forward, man. That's just the way it goes. Most hated native. Look at this question, Mike. Have you ever been bit? Mike, you ever been bit?
No.
Me neither.
No.
I've
never had my dogs, any of my bullies, I haven't even had them bow up or
growl, none of that.
Or not even growl, nothing, man. Mine just don't even do it. Not now when we're talking about food aggression and things like that. So I don't have any problems with that either. And what I do, I like to mess with their food and mess around their face and stuff while they're eating, and make sure they'll let me push them out of their bowl and pick the food bowl up. And I do that when they're puppies a little bit, and make sure they let me do what I want with their food, no matter if they're eating it or not. And they learn real quickly that, hey, this is Dad. He runs this, and he can do what he wants. Now, however, I did have a dog let another dog know, like, hey, that's mine. Don't touch it. And that was with the pig ear, but never with food. But when I put pig ears out one time, and I said, like, oh, they're gonna play with the pig ear, and I put 2 or 3 of them down for 4 or 5 dogs, and they like kind of got their chest out behind that a little bit, and I was realizing, like, okay, that's a private affair for the pig ears.
What did you do when that happened?
I pulled the pig ears away, put them up, and it was weeks before I got it back out. And when I did, I put them all in their individual kennels and gave them the pig ear inside their own kennels so they could enjoy it without being threatened, another dog taking it away from them. And they didn't show aggression. They just kind of let them know, like, hey, I'm not going to let you take this from me, type of thing,
Right. You were one step away from a big old dog fight.
Yeah.
I've never been bit. I have had 2 dog fights, and maybe, Cadabra, it's not fair to even call it all she does is snap. But I've never been bit, man. And I think it has a lot to do with the structure, how we got everything structured here. I'm not trying to say I'm on God's gift to the earth as far as a dog trainer. I've always said I'm not a dog trainer. I train my dogs here around what I do, but I don't feel comfortable like giving you training advice. I'm not there. But what I do feel is that I do one-on-ones with all of my dogs. 1 day a week, I let them out for an hour, 2 hours, just me and them. I also switch the positioning of their cells every month. So if you're in cell A this month, next month you may be in cell D. And then the following month, you may be in cell C. I don't know. We're going to switch it up. And this is so the dogs don't have more bonding amongst themselves than they ever do with me. I found that out the hard way when I had a dog fight. And unfortunately, the receiver of the dog fight was my boy Fireball. I had a male alpha at the time. His name was Xerox. And I had Aruba, who's Fireball's half-sister, in the cage next to Fireball. Big mistake. She came into heat, and Fireball claimed Aruba as his, right? I didn't know this or understand this at the time. So when I let her out for Xerox to mount her, and I let her out and put her in Xerox's cage, and he mounted her immediately, I then stupidly let all the dogs out at the time. And Fireball obviously was, listen, when I tell you he was making noises like, and I hate to say it this way, but it's what it sounded like. It's like a man watching his wife being raped. He was going bonkers. When I opened the cage, once Aruba and Xerox were done, the minute I opened the cage, it was Fireball who jumped on Xerox's face. and Xerox grabbed him. And the minute he grabbed him, the entire pack, including Aruba, who's Fireball's half sister, went after Fireball. And let me tell you, man,
got him good too.
Let me tell you, bro, it scared me lifeless. Now, luckily, I had the taser. I put it on Xerox. He let go. But the problem wasn't even Xerox at that point. The problem was every other dog. One would have him by one leg, the other one by the other one by the other one. When I would zap one, the other one would grab, and this one would let go, and then the other one would grab, and it was just, they were just taking turns at it. Until finally, I don't know how I did it. I scared them enough with the taser, and I put Xerox up. And once I put Xerox up, all the other dogs followed suit, and they all went in their cages. And let me tell you, I thought Fireball was going to die, guys. I really did. I'll never forget. I had to lift him up in my arms, took him to the house running. My wife was, hysterical. We brought her here to this very room where I'm at. And luckily for me, I had bought fish antibiotics. I had amoxicillin, and I had tea tree oil. And I poured amoxicillin on this little bowl, one of them little disposable bowls, put amoxicillin in there. I put tea tree oil, and I started putting amoxicillin and tea tree oil into every single wound. When I tell you Fireball easily had 30 plus wounds, I'm not making it up. He had 30 plus wounds. His legs alone were just destroyed. I don't know, and thank God they didn't, how they never went for his belly. Had they gone for his belly, they would have opened him up. Okay? So long story short, I put that on all of his wounds. It was already getting late. And I said, well, in the morning, I'm gonna have to take him in. He was in shock. He was just laying down, didn't want to eat, didn't want to drink, didn't want to get up, nothing. So we went to bed praying. Next morning, I come in this room, and guess who's up wagging his tail? Little old Fireball with a little limp. And I went and did the same thing again, tea tree oil, amoxicillin, every one of the wounds. When I tell you and he did have some inflammation. When I tell you the following day, there was zero inflammation, and this dog didn't have a limp. In fact, he wasn't even acting like anything had even happened. The only way you could tell is because you could still see the punctures in him. In fact, he had a puncture right here near his throat that you could see the hole inside. Right? But that goes to show you, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the structure on point, how things can turn on you in a heartbeat. This is why I share my experiences with you guys, because I learned the hard way. Okay. This happened, me being a breeder, maybe within a year. I might have had at that point around 12 dogs, right? If I could do it all over again, what would I have done different? I'll tell you what I did from that point on. From that point on, what I did was I changed all the dogs from the cages that they were in, and I made sure I would submit Xerox in front of everybody in the yard, completely submitted. I'm talking about down on the ground, laying sideways with my knee on his neck. All right. I wanted to make sure that everybody in this yard knew who I was. About 5 months, 6 months after that, I got a female named Latessa. This was a bad little bitch from the day she got here. She was letting dogs know, you can't touch my stick. I'm running the show. And Xerox, who was the alpha of the yard, he was gaga over Latessa. He was in love with her. So she was walking all over him. He would let her do whatever she wanted. What I soon found out was, if I could dominate and manipulate this alpha female and this male, of course, I can manipulate this yard. And ever since then, that's where I learned the whole alpha hierarchy that they say, oh, it's been debunked. Go right into Google right now and type in, is the alpha theory still alive? Oh, no, that's an old alpha theory. Okay, Google, how many times have you picked up poop? How many times have you had a dog? Because I have a pack. Everybody I talk to that has 6 or more dogs will tell you in a heartbeat, yeah, bro, the hierarchy thing, that's alive and well. And so I learned it, man. And I hope that my story has been able to help somebody out there. I've never been bit. Like I said, that was one fight. And I had another fight after that. And that was with females when the females go in heat. What happens is their hormones, right? They're all over the place, right? And they get irritable. And it was Latessa who got in a fight with Cadabra, right? And in fact, I show it. I have a video where I show it. And Cadabra, at the time, lost the fight, right? But Latessa then got pregnant about 2 or 3 months later, and she was outside of the yard here in the home for about, 2.5, 3 months until, pups were whelped and she was fully recovered. We brought Latessa back out to the yard. By then, Cadabra had established herself as an alpha. So guess what happened there? Latessa wanted to reclaim her throne, but it was too little too late. Cadabra stood up to her, and ever since then, Cadabra has been my alpha. So
I've got a question for you, Raul.
What you got?
If you're gonna do an in-house breeding, should you bring the male and female away from the rest of the pack and make it a little more private for that reason, to not incite the other dogs?
No, I wouldn't do it to incite the other dogs. I would do it more than anything is to not have a distraction, have a dog barking.
Do you think it does incite them though, like it incited Fireball that time?
Well, look, man, showing Fireball what was going on with who he thought his female was the worst thing I could have done. I never thought for the life of me that dogs would claim a female as theirs, their property. And when I tell you, when I open that door and I see Aruba walk out and Fireball jump, he didn't even let Xerox walk outside of the cage. He jumped right on him. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. Now I kind of giggle a little bit at my mistake at the time, but it was completely just stupid on my behalf to have ever done that.
So should you try, if you could, to take them to another room maybe, or take them out of line of sight? What I should have done is I should have put Aruba with Xerox. When they were done, should have brought her right back in and leave everybody where they are. Let everything cool off a little bit. Okay. Right. Or had brought Xerox and Aruba outside of the yard area, let them do what they were going to do. Right.
Have Fireball not know what was happening, and then brought them back. But to be like, hey, take a look at what's going on here, and then opening the cage was just stupid on my part. It was
you live and you learn, man. We all got to learn. It's our journey, right?
I learned at that point, and that's why ever since I make videos, I say, listen, when there's a female in heat, do not bring out any two males together. I don't care if there's a beta and there's an alpha. That beta is going to become pretty brave when there's a female around him. That's best thing you do. Yeah, best thing you do is leave your males where they are. Don't bring them out with the females. Let me catch up here real quick because I went into some long stories. D. Taylor says he gifted 1 QBN Kennel membership. D. Taylor, can I get some love, Hollywood? Can I get some love? Oh, come on, Hollywood.
Pues claro que sí, cabrón.
It's claro que sí, D. Taylor. Trying to give it a pan con leche over there, man. All right, man. Like I said, whenever you guys gift, unfortunately, the system gives it to whoever they want to. We really can't pick and choose. La Mexicana, I heard Pedigree gives cancer. I cannot confirm nor disagree with that statement. I will say there are plenty of ingredients in Pedigree, I've reviewed it, that are inflammation causing. I will definitely say that. Negative Dever Hicks. Okay. Big Beach Bullies late on the check-in. Good evening. What's going on, man? Hollywood, there's a lot of review videos on the channel on Kibble Fam. No Kibble's good. But honestly, if I had to pick, it wouldn't be that one. I couldn't agree with Hollywood anymore. Most hated says Pedigree is basically a bag of flour. I love it when they speak my language. That's right. Mexicana Kyle, which one do you recommend? Which one do you recommend, Kyle? He said, same as Raul. Raw is number one, and I honestly can never recommend one of the obvious reasons. But if you check out the videos, he does review on them and tells the good, the bad, and the ugly. I added the ugly part on there. Dever Hicks, Adam and Mexicana, thank you all. You got it? Absolutely makes sense. What about cedar chips? What about them? They have thymol. I believe it's thymol or a particular oil that's antifungal. Danny Wilson, I have a great name on raw with small amount of kibble and have no issues with bloat or even worry about it. Okay, Danny, there's also, you got to let me know how much water he drinks before and after eating, and do you exercise him after he eats and that sort of thing. Hey guys, Cody Challenger, Dever Hicks, I never given my dogs kibble. Man, good for you. Queen's New Blood, I remember this story. Hey, I keep it real, man. Adam Fields, never let males out together when females are in heat. That's the point. JV, there are no pit bulls. To be honest, the temperament of these dogs are amazing. I also mess around with him and have my kids doing it too. All right, exactly, Mike. Facts. We got most hated saying, my oldest male starting to resource guard his raw hides and snapped at me recently. Ooh. Oh, no. I've never had a dog snap on me, but I can promise you, he gonna know what the taser is. And we don't even have to hit him with the taser, but just the noise alone lets him know. This is why I do the taser thing ever since they're puppies. And I only bring out the taser thing whenever we get to a point where it's a high tension moment. That's how I break the high tension. With the taser thing, first I do it with my voice. If I feel I need to go with the taser, I'll go with it. Never had an issue.
Yeah, most native, man. If I would say Raul doesn't keep dogs when they snap, but if you were gonna, if you decided that you were gonna keep that dog,
no,
I hope I wouldn't recommend it, but I would hope you handled it very quickly and put that dog in check one way or another. Because
I will follow this up with what Mike just said. There's two things that are going to get you put down in my yard. Snap at me the first time. That's one of the two things. If you ever decide to snap a second time, you're going to be put down. Within 24 hours, you're going to be at the vet and you're going to earn your wings. It's just that quick.
And notice how he said, put down, not sold, not gotten rid of.
No. Why are you going to sell that? That's a loaded gun.
The reason is you don't want to put that responsibility on somebody else, especially when, from the sound of it, they may have gotten away with it, and now they're like, "Hey, I can snap on somebody. It's no big deal."
You got it.
Dangerous, man.
Shanani Webster, I just want to say thank you for addressing my questions. I was a member, but hit some challenging times. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to respond to my question. I've learned so much. None but love, sweetheart. Hey, we all go through those times. No worries. D. Taylor says, no, anyone deserves it. Spreading the love. Miss me and Michael's gambling days with those $20 spin. So gifting gives me my fix, says D. Taylor.
Hey, we did some good gambling, buddy. We did that.
That's right. I didn't even have the wheel ready again, man. You guys are probably wanting to pull my hairs out. Mike Hannigan says, I've been giving my Rotties dog-graded coconut oil with their meals for the past 2 years. I read that the prolonged use of coconut oil for dogs is not beneficial. Any thoughts? Can you tell me why it isn't, or what you've heard is not beneficial? Because from what I've heard, because it's medium chain amino acids and what it does for the fur, the coat, the digestive tract is phenomenal. But here's the thing about dogs, and here's why I'm always so, I keep looking at kibble companies and I always think that they're trying to deceive the public. Here's my point. Not only do I want you to tell me what it causes, I want you to tell me who funded the research. Because if it was Mars who makes all these bags of kibble, for me, that's straight BS. That's their way to sway the balance in their direction, if you get what I'm saying, right? So let me know what it causes and let me know who funded the research, because that's going to tell me everything I need to know, right? Danny Wilson says
your own experience too. If you did it for 2 years and it worked for your program, you know, I would definitely like a lot. There's a lot of things that we use like raw garlic, things that
yeah,
you look it up, it'll tell you shouldn't be using it. So
that's right.
I would factor in. I would get to the bottom of the research and keep asking why. You know, who is saying this information? Where does it come from? If you keep chasing the rabbit down the hole and you can't pinpoint it, it might not be something I'd trust.
Yeah, the same goes with me, man. Danny Wilson says she's very active, no heavy activity, at least for an hour before or after meals. Okay, that makes sense. Fresh water all day, hotter days, she drinks more than cooler days, of course, but I don't do anything special, just half a cup of kibble. Okay, there you go, man. All right, thanks for sharing that information. There's somebody that says he owns a Great Dane. Adam Field says we use human grade organic coconut oil. That's what I give my dogs.
Yeah,
organic grade coconut oil, $8 a bottle. And you know, they go through that bottle basically in 2 days. But hey, Devera Hicks, thank you so much for sharing. You got it. Kyle Holland says organic. Yes, it's kind of hard for me to believe that something organic like coconut oil that we've seen, and so many dog breeders and dog owners everywhere have seen so much benefit from, now out of the blue, using it long term is a bad thing. I don't know, man. It sounds to me like kibble companies can't afford it because it's going to cut into their profit. And so that's another way that they can manipulate the cadence. Adam Field says, never heard of dog grade coconut oil, Mike Hannigan. Me neither. I always buy mine at the store at human food grade level. I mean, I've seen people adding half a tablespoon of cinnamon to their dog food bowls for allergies. Is it bad or does it help?
That's a lot of cinnamon.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. As far as cinnamon for allergies, I got to research that a little bit. I have used cinnamon in the past whenever I want to muscle up a dog and I want to get them in the ring, because cinnamon is going to lower blood sugar. Right. But you got to know how much and what type of cinnamon. There's 2 types of cinnamon out there. If you're giving them the wrong type, you could end up in a world of hurt. I know one is Ceylon, and I forgot the name of the other one. I forget which of the 2 it is. I always look it up because I do forget. But you got to make sure you give the right kind and the right amount, because if you give too much, you're going to lower that blood sugar way too much.
And it's a lot less than you think. A half a spoonful is too much.
Yeah.
It's like a pinch.
Yeah, it's like a pinch of yeah, I agree. Nadie says, I also rub coconut oil on my pup's coat after I bathe them. Absolutely. One thing I do, guys, I don't know if you've heard me say this before. When I take my dogs to the vet, and it's crazy, I do it every time before I get them in the car. They get a coconut oil bath before they go in the car. Right now, the back seat, I got nothing but a cover and towels and all that. Right. And I do that because that's one of the ways I'm going to naturally choke out any fleas. Think about it. If you got, say, 12 dogs and you bring a dog that just caught a flea from the vet and you bring it home, you got a full-blown flea infestation in a matter of 3 days. So that's one of the reasons I do that. Shay says local raw honey for allergies works amazing too. Okay, I've heard of that. Elisa Ambrosino, hey, Iced Out Kennels in here. We late, but we here. All right, Iced Out. Nothing but love. Mike Hannigan says, Adam Fields, I use cold press, unrefined, organic virgin coconut oil for animal consumption only. Huh, I've never heard of that, Mike. Mike, do me a favor. Like I said, man, find out what the long-term effects are and let me know who funded the research. That's the part I really want to know.
Yeah,
If it's a kibble company, if it's a kibble company, you already know what's up. Now, if it's the University of Texas A&M, then I got to do a little bit more research, because then I got to find out who sponsored their library, right? Oh, it was Mars. Oh, well, then now you know. So
let's break this down a little bit. If you've got unrefined, go back to that. Go back to that last comment.
I'm trying to. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay. If you got unrefined virgin coconut oil, how could it be just for animals? If it's unrefined, organic, virgin coconut oil, it could be for anything that wants to eat it. What makes it animal consumption specific? That's what I'd like to know.
It might be, he might not be able to answer it, because sometimes it's a marketing gimmick.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If you had unrefined organic virgin coconut oil, it would be for whatever wants to eat it. It wouldn't be just animal.
I'm going to throw a hypothesis out there. I'm not 100% certain. I'm just going to throw something hypothetical. Because I buy human grade, right, unrefined organic virgin coconut oil, I can only imagine that it's got to be transported in trucks, and they got to be at a certain temperature so it doesn't melt. I'm just throwing something out there. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe this one is for dog or animal consumption, because it doesn't have to meet those standards. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, for example, with Nuvet, because it is made at human food grade level, right? Say, for example, there's a diseased cow. You cannot slaughter the cow and sell it at human food grade level at the grocery store. That's not allowed. People get fined. I mean, companies will get fined, shut down, whatever. But if you're selling it at feed grade level, it's perfectly okay for you to get roadkill and cook it and sell it in kibble. It's feed grade. It's perfectly okay as long as you go through a process. I got Hollywood waving me down. What you got, Hollywood?
So I looked it up, and the only thing they're really saying is using human grade is like the only potential risk is obesity and digestive issues. And they talk about not giving too much. I guess like anything, you don't give too much.
Right.
But I don't give, but just a little bit when I do. I just don't see there being that much of a difference from everything I'm seeing. It's really not that big of a difference. It's mainly to do with digestion and the coconut oil, digestion issues, and the high fat content is what it's talking about.
Well, I will say this. When you feed dogs high fat content, it can lead to pancreatitis. Okay.
That's what it said.
Yeah, they're not meant to consume large amounts of fat. Okay. But if you're giving half of a teaspoon in a bowl of food, say for a 100-pound dog, that's nothing. The other day, I made a video and I broke down the whole garlic thing. People were
just like the garlic.
You feed garlic to dog. Listen, I'm feeding 1 garlic clove per 100 pounds of dog. A
medium garlic clove.
Yeah. The study that was done, they were feeding 13 to 15 garlic cloves
or more. Yeah.
For a dog that was less than 100 pounds. So, moderation is the key to everything.
I think that's what it is. And it also says some could be allergic to the coconut oil, but man, you're not feeding them a cup a day. You know what I mean?
No.
That's different. If you're just feeding a little bit, like I only do it a couple times a week, just like the garlic. You feed one a couple times a week, crushed.
Well, I do it every day.
Different.
I do the garlic every day.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah, what I said is 1 clove per 100 pounds. Trust you me, if you go into Google and you research garlic and you find out everything I just said about the study, how much they gave and all that, when you find the recommended dosage, you're going to find that 1 clove per 100 pounds, which is what I feed, is below the general cadence of the recommended dosage. So I'm feeding it, but I'm feeding it below the recommended dosage.
And this is true too. Queen said unrefined human or dog coconut oil should be the same. It's what are they adding? Like it's coconut oil. What else could you be?
Well, what I said is it could be a marketing gimmick, or the way that it's processed may also play a role. You know, the way that it's processed, even though
they don't have to go through as many as of the restrictions as humans.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
So to me, that would be worse.
Well, I mean, you don't know, because you don't know if when you melt coconut oil, if every time you melt it, if it degrades somehow. I don't have.
Yeah, there's no telling.
So, Alyssa Ambrosino, my boyfriend does all your bath stuff and has been working. I just let my dogs lick coconut oil from my hands. There you go. Adam Fields, use the human grade. Shake my head. Shade tree. Unrefined means it's raw, was never heated. Okay, this is true, Shay. But if it's for animal consumption only, there's got to be something. There's got to be something that doesn't measure up to human food grade. Alyssa, we need to do our consultation with you. We've been using our code for the Nuvet. There you go. Adam Fields, probably expired or contaminated. Possibility. Shade Tree may take away his balance of moderation. Shade Tree got that balance going on today. Hey, if you like Shade Tree's balance, give us a hashtag balance in the comments for Shay, because she's been throwing it out there tonight. Queen's New Blood, unrefined human or dog coconut oil should be the same. It's not adding anything to either. Forbidden, I give them 1 to 2 tablespoons of coconut oil every meal. They claim it helps prevent parasites. I think that's a bit much, bro, unless you got some 200-pound dogs. Christian Irajeta, what's going on, man? Number love, Shade Tree. I feel so sorry for dogs. Human giving a teaspoon of cinnamon. That's sad as AF. House of Breeze, how do I stop yeast? You watch QB and Kennels Get Rid of Yeast playlist right here on this channel.
Before we go tonight, show them how to look it up. We got people just.
Money Mike. Money Mike, hold up, man.
We want them to know how to use.
You caught me with my pants down, man. Hold up, man. I gotta bring it up here. But no, I appreciate you. You bringing it up.
Just so y'all know, for people watching that haven't seen us do it before, exactly how looking it up is done. He's gonna show you how to go onto the app and search the videos and find different topics. So that
it's actually the page, but yeah, basically you're gonna type in QB and Kennel. And our page is going to come up. Check it out right now. If you're watching us right now, you're watching MBL Monday at 8 p.CST. And if you catch us on Friday, you got Friday Night Dog Talk, Friday, 8 p.m. CST, right? And look at these beauties right here. I ain't talking about the dude on the right. I'm talking about the doggies, right? So when you get here to QB and Kennel, right? All you got to do, man, is find the magnifying glass. By the way, I'm doing this from a laptop. You could also do it from a phone. Once you find the magnifying glass, what was the question he was asking, Mike?
He was asking about yeast.
Yeast.
Hey, just so you know, I don't think you can do it from the phone. It's from the laptop to search.
No, I did it. I did it from my phone today. It works.
Oh, you did?
As long as you find the magnifying glass, that's all. You got to find the magnifying glass. So you type in yeast and you hit enter. Check it out, man. Why pay more at the vet for anti-yeast shampoo? Boom. Golden Paste, first line against dog yeast infection. Boom. Get rid of dog yeast. Check it out. Baking soda dry bath. Boom. Yeast infection, fast fix. Boom. Best yeast dog detox. Boom. And actually, this is a short pointing you to a video, which is this one down here. Best dog food to fight yeast infection in dogs. Boom. I mean,
this is why I wanted y'all to see how to look it up, because Raul has been putting together a library for years and years so that y'all have this plethora of knowledge that you can access. Just got to know how to do it.
That's it. And hey, thanks for bringing it up, Mike. Look at all the videos, man. Look at this. Vets don't want you to know. Check it out. Look at that. $7 spray that you can spray on your dog's toes for them not to get that orange tinge. Why waste money at the vet for your dog's skin problems? Come on, man. I can't make it any easier for you. I really can't. It's up to you guys to sit there and watch the video.
I've done it. It's worth it.
Hey, Nadie says, Raul, please remind everyone to allow Allison to release from the garlic. This is true. Sometimes I get a little excited and I forget. You got to chop the garlic, or you can crush it, let it sit for 15 minutes for Alan to react with air and become Allison, which is actually something beneficial for dogs. That's another key thing, because if you ask Google, and Google's being influenced by Big Pharma, in my opinion, is garlic toxic for dogs? Yes, it's got Alan in there. Okay, they don't tell you that all you got to do is crush it and wait 15 minutes, and you're good to go at that point, right? So there you go. I'm gonna skip non-member questions so we can finish the live. Queen's New Blood. So they're modifying it. I'm just going to start growing coconuts myself.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. To become a member and to interact with the channel, please click the link below. If you have iPhone, put in Chrome or laptop, right? Go down below the description. There's a link. Click on it. Select. Sulema Santiago, balance. Adam Fields, balance. Frida Strivio, balance. People loving you, Miss Shay. Mike Hannigan, New Blood Kennels, he's cracking up. We got Carmelo and Cheech. And Chica, I'm sorry, balance. And Saratha, balance. Look at that. Look at that, Miss Shay. Nothing but love for you. Most Hated Native says, I buy my coconut oil at the grocery store. Is it good enough for my dogs? It should be, man. If it's unrefined, that's what I'm giving my dogs, man. It costs a little bit more, but, you know, it works. Don't get the refined version. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Nadie is saying balance. Forbidden says, thanks, guys. Great info. You got it, man. Queen's New Blood, they're messing stuff up too much, Mike. I use unrefined not only for my dogs, but hair as well. Can't trust them with nothing. You're right about that.
I couldn't agree more. I put it on my face and my head. That's all I use, man.
Oh, you know what, Mike? After I told them how to do it, I didn't tell them the playlist. Thanks to Adam Fields, he says there are also playlists that are on certain subjects. Let me bring it up again. Thank you, Adam Fields. You see, that's why you're a long time watcher. So if you don't want to go to the search field and type in yeast, you can go to the playlist and check it out. Get rid of yeast. This is the playlist.
Go back.
You click on it.
I couldn't see your mouse.
Each entry. It could be wipes. Look at that. Be a particular type. It goes right into it. And it's going to give you the rest of the videos on the playlist. Look at the entire playlist. It's all there for the taking.
Go back and show them how to do that again, Raul. I couldn't see your mouse for a second. I don't know why.
All right. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Go to where it says playlists.
Okay. So, yeah, when you type in QBN Kennel, right, you're going to go to search. You're going to type in QBN Kennel, right? You're going to hit enter, and you're going to get, whoa, my bad. Got some craziness. You're going to bring you here. You click on QBN, and there you go. Instead of clicking here, you can instead click on playlist. And now, look, you got get rid of yeast dogs, dog skin issues, best suggested. You want to talk dog colors? You want best dog food? I mean, what do you want, man? What do you want to know?
Somebody asking about dog food earlier. There you go.
Yeah, top videos. You got nutrition and structure over here, QB&K insights. You want brand reviews. I mean, whatever it is that you're looking for, guys, you come over here, you click on Clean Paws with paw cleaners each entry. It could be, I start talking right off the bat, and you get the rest of the videos in the playlist. I mean, any more, and I would have to feed it to you with a spoon, man. Seriously. All right. Nothing but love, says Shade Tree. Listen, guys, we've definitely gone a little further than we had planned tonight. Either way, guys, if you haven't gotten Nuvet, just letting you know, the order code is 513237. You get 13% off with auto ship. If you order both, you're getting a free consult from me, but it's got to be with the auto ship. Let me bring my dude from the back. Hollywood, can you start us up, man?
It's your boy Hollywood Holland, your boy in the back at the queue, and we're catching you on the next one.
All right, Michael Higginson.
Michael Higginson with Creek Bank Kennel out of Arkansas, man. Your co-host with the most. Catching you on the next one.
That's it. Hey, guys, listen, we do this every Monday. We do it every Friday, 8 p. CST. If you do the $5 membership, write down your questions. And when you show up on Monday, you can just ask away, and we're going to make sure we answer. Either way, guys, I want to thank you for joining us. It's been Raul from the Q, and I'll be catching you on the next one.